What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma if you're new here, and I love to talk about all things Peloton cycling and fitness. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post every single Sunday, and today's video is going to be a real fun one. I've been looking forward to filming it. I'm going to be taking all 4 of the LOL Cody classes that have come out recently. It is a collection that Cody is doing on the bike with guests. The description is join Cody Rigsby for 4 30-minute bike classes with visits from wow-worthy guests, games, hot takes, and loaded lowdowns. This is how Peloton does after hours in the early evening with a mug of hot tea. So I definitely expected to kind of just be like XO Cody, but with guests. But you know, I'm excited. I like Cody Rigsby. He's definitely like a little hotter than he used to be, but I'm excited to see his guests. I think he'll be a great interviewer. I like content like this on Peloton. I think it's a lot of fun. And yeah, I just think that overall it should be a good time. So I'm going to take the first class today, which is a 30-minute LOL Cody class by Cody Rigsby from November 3rd, 2022. The music looks incredible. It's all pop music from female singers. Excited to listen to it. The description is fix your wigs, get your life together because this 30-minute ride will be an LOL. Interesting. Join your bestie Cody Rigsby as he welcomes icon status guests for games, gags, and a good ass time. And his guest today looks like it is Trixie Mattel, so I'm excited to hear their conversation. Sure, it'll be a fun time. Riders in studio. I bet the energy will be great. So let's go to the gym and knock out this 30-minute cycling class. That ride was definitely an interesting one. So it started out in the studio and Cody is basically like, yeah, like this is going to be an easy ride. Like he didn't say those words exactly, but he was just like, a lot of the time we're going to be holding the same resistance and cadence. And there actually was like a decent amount of call outs, but a lot of it was just like doing the same thing for like 3 minutes and then switching to like a lower cadence but higher resistance and vice versa, which I think is fine because when there are guests on, I'm not like super concerned about like doing some intense HIIT workout or something. Like I'm mostly there to hear them talk. The thing I thought that was weird about this class is that Trixie didn't come until maybe like 17 minutes in, and Matt Lopers was there in the studio biking. So for the first 17 minutes, it was just like Cody and Matt talking, and I feel like it was like a little bit awkward. I don't know. I just feel like Cody is just so different than Matt, and you can tell that they're friends, but I definitely felt like some of their conversation was awkward. Like at one point they were doing like smash or pass of Disney princesses, and I feel like Matt like was uncomfortable, but I don't really know. That was interesting and like definitely was not my favorite. But then Trixie came out and it was like a lot of fun. They had really great conversation. I feel like Trixie and Cody had super great banter to like go back and forth. It was a really fun conversation. And they also had Matt like changing and putting on different wigs while Cody and Trixie were talking, which was a little weird, but it was like also kind of funny. I just feel like the last half of the ride was so much better than the first half of the ride. And I'm kind of curious like why Trixie was only in it for like 12 minutes when they could have been in it for 30 minutes, but I have no real complaints. I would still recommend taking this ride. Just know that like Trixie doesn't come out to the end. It gets good at the end though. And yeah, the pushes were good, had like a nice chill ride. I've really been liking this like guest format. I just took all the Ashton Kutcher Future Selves runs. I really like those. Obviously, this LOL Cody is a lot more goofy. At some point, Cody gets off the bike and like just starts dancing. So, you know, it's one of those rides. It was definitely a really fun, lighthearted ride. I don't watch RuPaul's Drag Race, but I would still recommend, even if you don't know who Trixie is. I didn't really know who Trixie was, but really fun, lots of great banter. And you know, sometimes you just need that to get through a 30-minute ride. So I'm definitely interested to see like what the rest of these classes will be like. But yeah, so far so good. Definitely like a 10 out of 10 for fun, probably like a 6 out of 10 for difficulty. It really depends like how you push yourself, but sometimes I felt like the segments that you were riding were like a little long. Like sometimes you'd have a lot of time where you're doing 30 to 40 resistance and like 80 to 100 cadence, which I think is like recovery, or I consider that recovery, but you know, he kept it moving. He threw in some good hills there, so still a very fun ride. It is now a couple days later. It's Friday morning, and you know I love Fridays, and what better way to kick off the almost weekend than the second LOL Cody ride. So today's class is a 30-minute LOL Cody by Cody Rigsby from November 10th, 2022. The guest today is Rae Jepsen, which I'm super excited about. The description is the same description as last class. Like, they don't actually say who the guest is, but the picture is of Rae Jepsen. Like, basically, Cody holds a picture of his guest, which is an interesting promo photo, but you know, helpful. The music again is great. It's actually kind of like some, I don't know, pop punk, like Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco. And then it switches to playing like all Rae Jepsen, which I'm totally fine with. I really like her as a musician, so I'm excited to see what she says. I haven't seen like any like real interview footage of her because I don't follow celebrities that much, but I think it'll be a fun ride. I wonder if there'll be any other like Peloton guest stars like Matt Wilbur's in the class. I don't know, we'll see. I think it'll be a fun way to kick off this Friday morning. So let's hit the gym and knock out this cycling class. I really enjoyed this ride. I liked it a lot more than the previous one. I think that it was mostly dependent on guests. Like, obviously I knew Rae Jepsen better than I knew Trixie, and the Peloton guest, which I guess for these classes, it wasn't clear to me exactly, but it seems like there will be a Peloton instructor for like the first 15 to 20 minutes and then like the celebrity guest for the last like 10 to 15 minutes. So the instructor today was Kendall Toole, which is also why Cody was playing pop punk music. That should have been my tip, but he's like, yeah, this playlist is like for our pop punk princess. And I was like, yeah, like I love pop punk. I take Kendall's pop punk ride. So I was very happy with the playlist. I thought that Kendall and Cody like had really good banter. Like, Matt and Cody didn't have bad banter, but I feel like they're so different when Kendall and Cody have like more similar personalities. So then like they go back and forth better in my opinion, but definitely talked about some, you know, controversial topics. I was surprised. They talked about some past relationships. Cody definitely referenced like stuff that's happened in Kendall's life, and she's like, wow, you're like exposing me. And yeah, I just feel like they like vibed really well. And then technically, I think this ride was harder than the first ride. It is like kind of set and forget, which he does say at the beginning, like it's mostly about the conversation, which I'm totally fine with. But I feel like today's class, we like set and forget at higher like cadence / resistance than the class I took a couple days ago. My output from like the class a couple of days ago, I think was around like 260, 270. And my class today was just over 300. So definitely like 10%-ish increase. I went a little bit harder, which I appreciate. The class that I took a couple days ago was pretty easy. This was like more in line with what I usually do when I ride. So I liked that, you know, we were like going at it a little bit harder and we were really cranking up the resistance. And then Rae Jepsen came out. I thought she was phenomenal. I think her and Cody had really good banter and they just went back and forth. They talked about like who their top pop icons were. She talked about like some past relationships. I just feel like it was really well run and it kind of flowed more smoothly than the first one. I think you also have to like get used to it. Like, this is a new format on Peloton, but I feel like the class today was just like a lot better organized. The conversation went a lot better in my opinion. And yeah, I would highly recommend if you like Cody, I think you would really like this class. Like, I feel like his personality really shined through the entire time. And yeah, just a really fun class. Plus, if you like pop punk music, really great music until Rae Jepsen comes out, and then you get to listen to even more great music because I also really enjoy Carly's music as well. So just 10 out of 10. I really like this class. I am interested to see how the other two compare because I think today's will be hard to beat. It is now a couple days later. It's a Tuesday morning and I'm ready for my next LOL Cody class. So today's class is a 30-minute LOL Cody by Cody Rigsby from November 17th, 2022. And he is holding a picture of a man, and I do not know who the man is, which does not mean much because I don't know a lot of celebrities, but I'm excited to learn who he is. He does play a lot of NSYNC music, which first I really like NSYNC music, so maybe it's somebody from NSYNC, but I'm definitely excited to get on the bike. I really liked last class, so I have high hopes for this one. Meet the Peloton guest, meet our celebrity guest. I think it'll be a fun time. So let's go to the gym and hit the bike. The cycling class was very, very interesting. I think I liked it more than the first, but not quite as much as the second. But overall, I still think it was a really, really fun class. So we started out, we're listening to NSYNC music. The guests were JC from NSYNC and then Emma Lovewell. Emma Lovewell was there at first. Everything was fine. They had their nice banter. I feel like Cody talks about sex a lot now. I feel like he didn't used to talk about sex as much, but it comes up quite a lot in these classes. I don't know if it's because it's like after hours or what. Like, I don't really mind. I just think that it's kind of interesting. But they talked about Emma being a Catwoman, about their dancing days together. I mean, it's very obvious that Emma and Cody are really good friends, so they really had some good conversation. And pretty basic for the call outs, very similar to the other classes. I feel like during the Emma Lovewell part, it was actually getting kind of hard. Like, we kept going up a hill progressively, and for a while we were holding like 50 to 70 resistance at 50 to 60 cadence, which is like definitely a push for me. But it did get easier once JC came out. So JC came out and he's actually like really funny. Like, I feel like they also had really great conversation, and I feel like they actually had better conversation than Rae Jepsen on the fact that JC told like more stories. So with Carly, Cody asked more like random one-off questions where it would be like a very short answer, and then you'd ask like more random questions. Where with JC, I feel like JC would take a really long time to respond, or like he'd have like this whole story as response. So it felt like more of a natural conversation, and I just like really enjoyed the conversation they had. That being said, it was a very short conversation because he probably came out with like, I don't know, 12 minutes left in the class, which first off, I wish the celebrity was out the whole time. I think that like they have enough to talk about, and like JC definitely had enough to talk about that he could talk longer. And then they also put in a segment while JC was out where they were ranking like 1990s, early 2000s outfits that other Peloton instructors wore. So they would like come into the studio dressed like ridiculous, right? Because the outfits are like from late 1990s, early 2000s. Like, it's funny. It is funny to watch. I enjoyed it. I just feel like they could have done that segment while Emma Lovewell was only out so that they could talk to JC more about his life, because he had like funny things to say about the different outfits, and it was a good segment, but I feel like I would have just liked to hear him talk more. Like, he had really interesting stories for like this short amount of time that it was just Cody and JC, but that was literally like 5 minutes because this whole like outfit segment was the other 5 minutes, and JC was only out for like 12 minutes. So that was my only big complaint, but I did enjoy the ride. Like, it was enjoyable the whole way through. I honestly just wish that it was longer because I feel like we didn't learn enough about JC, but pretty much all NSYNC music. And Cody did mention an NSYNC artist series class was coming. I'm pretty sure it's already out because this class is a couple weeks old. So I definitely need to go look for that because I was jamming out to the music in the background. Overall, it was a really good workout. Emma Lovewell, JC were both really fun guests. Feel like there was good banter the whole time, and the outfit segment was very funny. So I would highly, highly recommend if you're looking for a fun ride. It is now the next day. It's Wednesday morning, and I'm just ready to knock out this last LOL Cody class. It is a 30-minute LOL Cody holiday edition by Cody Rigsby from December 1st, 2022. The guest is some guy I do not recognize, and then Mariah Carey, and it's like all Mariah Carey music. And I've seen some interesting things online about this. Some people that don't like it as much. I'm not going to try to let that sway me, but I rarely see critique of Cody online. So it's interesting that I even saw any of it. So very interested what happens in this ride. Let's go to the gym and knock out this last cycling class. I thought that this class was pretty in line with the other LOL Cody classes, but I can definitely see why some people complain. So we start off, Cody announces there's going to be no Peloton guest, and his guest today is Bowen Yang, who is like in some podcast, I don't know the podcast, and then also an SNL writer. So for the first 5 to 10 minutes, there was no guest. It was just Cody. He was talking to the audience, like pretty typical Cody class. He says that it is a like holiday ride and that it's for like all holidays, but they pretty much only play Christmas music, which I thought was interesting. It's like all Mariah Carey music. Bowen Yang then comes out. He does say that he has a Peloton at home. So we love when the celebrities actually have Pelotons and kind of know what they're doing. And yeah, you can also tell that Cody and him are friends. Like Cody had gone on this guy's podcast. And then probably like 5 minutes after Bowen came out, they also revealed that Matt Rogers was in the audience, who's like also on Bowen's podcast. I just didn't know who any of these people were, but then the three of them were talking. I think it was a little bit weird that Matt was like on a bike in the studio audience while Bowen and Cody were like at the front. Like I feel like they all might have just should have been together, but I don't know. I would be interested to know like what the logic was behind that and like how they decided who got to sit in the front while like Matt was relegated to like the studio audience. But they were kind of going back and forth. They did like the typical bits, like they did smash or pass. They were making up like slogans for Christmas characters. At one point, Bowen and Cody had like these long poems they wrote. I wasn't a huge fan of that. And then Mariah Carey comes out with like 5 minutes left, which was definitely interesting because basically she sings for like 10 seconds just to show she can sing high notes maybe. Like she was singing really high notes to a song. And then All I Want for Christmas comes on. It's like the last song in the ride. So you think she's gonna like sing it or at least sing some of it. But she basically just smiles and then leaves. It was very, very odd. And then Matt was like fangirling the whole time and was like, oh my God, I love Mariah Carey so much. Like that was so amazing. It was interesting. I feel like maybe they just didn't need to have Mariah Carey. And the things that I saw online was mostly that Mariah Carey's like segment was so short and that like she didn't really do anything during it. So yeah, just kind of an interesting like random point, but I don't think overall it was a bad ride. It was like pretty typical to what else is in the series. If I had to rank them, I definitely like the second one the most, then the third one, then probably today's, and the first one last. I feel like the first one was not bad. It just kind of had some like kinks that needed to be ironed out. And by the second show, all of those kinks were ironed out. And then for the technical portion of the ride, pretty much the exact same as we've seen the last 3 rides. Steady state cardio. We were actually going up a pretty tough hill, like towards the middle for like a decent amount of time, like maybe like at least 5 minutes. So definitely pushed myself, like had a decent output. Overall, I liked this ride and I liked all 4 classes. I honestly feel like this could be a longer series, kind of like the Ashton Kutcher collection on Tread, where Cody could interview even more people. I don't think that Cody is like the best interviewer, but I don't know. That's also not like the purpose of these rides. I think they're mostly just supposed to be like fun, crazy rides. And then Cody's really like leaning into the personality that he's developed on Peloton because yeah, you really don't learn about any of his guests, like anything significant, but I think that's fine. Just know what you are getting into when you start it. think they're good rides for like chiller ride days. You don't have to have a super hard ride every single day. And I appreciate that Peloton keeps coming out with like new interesting content rather than just the regular rides. I love the regular rides. I've taken like almost 1,000 of them at this point, but it is nice to see them innovate, try new things, see what lands. And I'm interested to see like if more seasons of this will come out. I'm also curious how they get like the guests that they do and like how all of that like backstage stuff works, but I don't think that I'll ever learn that. So let me know if you guys have taken these rides. If so, which one is your favorite? And do you think there'll be more seasons of this in the future? I would be curious. That is it for this video. I hope you guys are staying safe, having an awesome week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.